Good evening, Little Masters, and welcome to episode 246 of the Prancing Pony podcast, where, well, honestly, we probably wouldn't be quite as kind to Faramir if he woke us up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so look, if we let you shoot Gollum, will you let us just go back to sleep?
Seriously, just do it now. I want to stay in bed.
Get it over with. But folks, go ahead and pull up a bench in the common room. I'm Shawn Marchese, the Lord of the Mark, and I'm here with the Man of the West, who shares Sam's reticence about being on high open platforms, Alan Sisto.
Indeed, I do. The Minas Tirith health and safety people are going to hear about this place. Where are the railings? Where are the warning notifications?
Get an inspector in here, stat.
Right now. Folks, today we're going to watch the moon set and save Gollum's life in the first half of The Forbidden Pool.
And I'm sure he's going to be grateful for the effort to save his life, right? Right?
No.
Well, okay.
Probably not.
Let's not set the bar too high.
No.
Folks, here at the Prancing Pony podcast, we are reading and talking our way through Tolkien's stories of Middle-earth, a few pages at a time.
We dive into the details, we point out connections to other writings, and we talk about our favorite themes.
But we also make sure that we have a lot of fun along the way. So we're glad you've joined us.
And we know you'll be glad you joined as well. But before we get into the chapter, it's time for a quick update from the first in-person moot that Shawn and I have attended together since 2019. Well, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here.
So tell us who you are.
Yeah,
All right,
start
well,
there.
I'm Becca, a.k.a. Barla Becca, answering your mail.
Oh, that's you.
That is me.
Barlaman has a voice? Really? I had no
Yes.
idea. And like a face and like a body
Exactly.
and all of that. Wow. Excellent. Well, where are you from?
I am from Tishomingo, Oklahoma.
Thank you for pronouncing it because I never can. And
We call it Tish.
okay, excellent. So, Becca, is this your first time here at TexMoot?
First time in person, second time as an actual TexMoot attendee. Last year I did the virtual.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
But you've done moots in person before.
Yes, I did Myth Moot last year for the first time.
Okay.
Good. All right, so Becca, what are you most looking forward to here at TexMoot?
Well, honestly, just getting to see friends and other members of not just the PPP community, but the Tolkien community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are a great group of people.
We
and
are.
It's, like my family teases me because I'm the only real Tolkien person in the group. They're like, oh, you get to go be with your folks now.
Yes, that's right. Your people. Your people.
Well, we are recording this at the halfway point, right? We're all getting ready to go to lunch, and I know you want to go to lunch, so we'll make this quick. But what's been a highlight of the day so far? We've gotten through a couple of different panels. What have you liked?
To be perfectly honest, the ones I'm looking forward to are coming up
Oh, okay.
next.
That's
so looking at the Tolkien and stewardship in Tolkien,
Yeah.
which is right after lunch, that really applies a lot to my research and stuff I've looked at with just how the natural world is depicted in Tolkien and how people take care of it or don't.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I probably should have said this at the start of the
That's a good
segment.
point.
Theme of TexMoot 2022 is Starships, Stewards, and Storytellers, how imaginary worlds teach us to care for this one. And this afternoon we're talking about that from the perspective of Tolkien, which is going to be pretty exciting.
That will be. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Becca.
Well, thanks for having me again.
And you didn't bring any mail for us, did you?
No, I did not.
All
It is
right.
back in the car.
Perfect.
All
Thank
right,
you so
excellent.
much.
Okay.
Thanks,
Take care,
Becca.
guys.
All right, well, welcome. Thanks for joining us here. First, why don't you start by telling our listeners who you are and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Aiden. I'm from here. I'm like
Here being Austin,
here
Texas?
being Austin,
Oh, okay.
Texas. Here
Excellent.
being like it
Not
was a
here like the southern half of the United States or North America. As
Here,
we're not
or
there.
as in, I went home and picked up my phone charger cord over
Oh,
lunch.
wow.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Things I cannot do for 500, Alex.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good drive for me, even, but I'm just down south. So
Yeah,
cool. And is this your first time coming to a TexMoot?
it is. Well, I went to the one last year that was totally remote.
Okay.
Right.
Because everything snowed and then it broke.
That's right. That was that time of year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But
So this is your first
This is
time
my
in
first
person.
moot in person.
That was my next question, was whether this has been your first in-person moot, and indeed it has. So then it's also been your first since the pandemic. Now that that's not over, but now that it's better, are you looking forward to maybe attending some more? Or are you going to go to?
I certainly hope so. I don't know that I'd be able to spend the money to get myself to Mythmoot, but it depends on where I end up living. I may not be living in the United States next year, for all I know. Wow. So, but if I am, then absolutely. Yeah. And if it's come to where I end up, then sure. So
awesome, awesome,
great.
Well, we are wrapping up the day here, so tell us what the highlight was for you. What was the best thing? You saw today?
Honestly, I think that the best part was having interesting scholarly literary discussion about stuff that's like, I would be consuming this media anyway. I am consuming this media anyway. Right. Like, I play this video game, I watched this movie, and I really liked it. Like, you sort of get the impression in a lot of literary studies is like there's this body of literature that we study, and then there's everything else.
Right. Yeah. And stuff that we don't touch that. Like, that's not worth literary study, not worth analysis.
But it totally is. And a lot of it holds up, in my opinion, better than a lot of the stuff that's held up as literature, which is often rather depressing and uninteresting. So being able to say, like, this is a movie that is widely popular and a lot of people have watched it, and it says these things, is really important, because then all these people are getting that message from it. What is that message? What does that mean? What does that have to say about what people are walking out of this film with? Which is an incredibly relevant question, much more relevant than like, this grand work of literature that only literature professors are ever going to read, or that sort of a thing.
Any big surprises today? Something that you were like, wow, I never thought of that, or I had no. Let's start with a surprise about a work of literature that you knew already, or a movie that you knew already.
That's a really good question. I wasn't super surprised by all that much, which maybe that's a good thing, because it means like, hey, these are people are saying relevant things.
Cool.
I was more surprised by the choice of like Stellaris. They're talking about Stellaris. I've played hundreds of hours of Stellaris. I've never thought about it in these terms before, but like absolutely it totally deserves this.
I've never heard of Stellaris, but I was on the planning team for this, obviously, and as soon as I saw that proposal come, I was like, we got to do this. This sounds super cool.
Well, it's neat to be able to talk about everything from anime to video games to Tolkien, and to still get the perspective of stewardship and find that theme across all these different media.
Godzilla. I mean, I was so thrilled to talk about Godzilla. That was amazing.
Fantastic. Absolutely
fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks.
And we hope to see you next year.
Pleasure to meet you, Aiden. Thanks.
Tell our listeners who you are and where you're from.
Paul Fortunato. I'm the English professor that he was talking about, who teaches all those other things that people don't read.
Take no offense, I'm sure.
No, I totally appreciate the thought.
Hey, I'm a fan of Ulysses, and I hear people bash Ulysses all the time, and I just let it go.
But so I am an English professor at the University of Houston downtown, and I love Tolkien. And
there you go.
Awesome.
Fantasy literature.
Awesome. And is this your first time at TexMoot?
No, it's like my fourth, maybe.
Okay, that's what I thought. And you actually presented the topic today. Tell us a little bit about the topic you presented today.
I presented on the connection between Wendell Berry's thought on environment, and then the human relationship to the environment, and Tolkien, especially in Sam's discussions about elves and that. And whether the land made the elves or the elves made the land.
Right.
That was a really great talk. It was one of our short presentations with a longer conversation, which was a lot of fun.
Those are good.
We get a little bit more audience participation in those usually, and I thought it was a really good one. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
I loved that. It was so cool.
Other than your own presentation, because that would be fair to answer it that way, what was your highlight for the day?
Well, there was so many, but one was the discussion. There was also a short one from the Sarah Vogt on the hobbits and the forest.
Were they wrong to stop the old forest from growing back?
Super suggestive question.
It really is.
So good at showing there's no simple answer.
No,
there's always trade-offs. There's competing organisms.
Restoring the status quo that used to be. How far do we go to do that?
Right, exactly. And
that was kind of what Corey touched on at the end. There's no easy answers in Tolkien. We tend to boil things down simplistically at times.
overly so when it comes to Tolkien.
And destroying Isengard good, and of course it is, but there are aspects of the Ents, there are aspects of the Old Forest that are not
Old
good.
Forest attacking the hobbits, not so good.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
what's the difference?
So
Let's talk about that.
It's a spectrum, and they're on the same spectrum. They're not opposites.
It is not a binary, it is a
different
spectrum.
things.
You're right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Cool. Well, Paul, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Pleasure
very
to
much.
have you on the show. Pleasure to meet you.
Awesome.
And hope to see you next year at TexMoot.
I hope so too. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Well, welcome to our little booth here for interviewing guests at TexMoot. So tell us, who are you and where are you from?
Okay, so my name's Emily. I'm native to Texas.
Oh, okay.
I'm a theater and English teacher.
Oh, wow.
I tried to take my kid to The Hobbit and, and my seniors through the fellowship, but we ran out of time because of testing stuff. But it was interesting. It was a lot of their first time with Tolkien.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, so you're from Texas.
Yes.
So is this your first time at TexMoot?
No, my first time was 2019.
Oh, okay.
First time I actually got to see y'all, and after
Okay.
I heard your Gollum GPS, I went and downloaded it like that night to listen to driving home.
Awesome. Good times. Cool. So this isn't your first in-person moot, so that was my next question. Is this the first time you've been back to a moot since this whole pandemic thing changed the world?
I make it a point to come every year. I'm in Corey's class, the Exploring Lord of the Rings class, and so I have a lot of online friends. I get to see them once a year, so I try not to miss it. So, yeah, I love it. I love it here.
It's so great having it close to home, isn't it? It's just, I mean, there's a lot of good regional moots, but I don't know. I love our Texas group.
Well, I prefer LA Moot for that exact reason.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, my backyard is nice.
Region moots are nice and intimate.
They are.
You really get to know people. You have a lot of discussions. Remember at the Hobbit Cafe last year was just, we were all crowded around that table, and you and I talked about Frozen.
I remember that,
and different things. So you get to have conversations. You meet people, fellow nerds, and it's great.
Yeah, this is our tribe. These are our people.
Exactly.
So what were your highlights of the day? What were the moments that you enjoyed the most at today's event?
Okay, so I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything, but we drove up from Pleasanton, which is about an hour and 45 minutes down from here, at 6 in the morning. And I told her, we have to make the first panel. You have to hear these guys. So definitely that. We've been talking a little bit all day long about different things. And Corey was actually talking a little bit earlier about the elves. The last panel to close.
Yeah.
And talking also about the environment. I come from a heritage of farmers and ranchers. And so hearing the question, are we guardians or are we
working in conjunction with nature, or are we trying to master it? I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that was
lordship over or stewardship up, sort of servanthood up.
Yeah. And I've always heard that we are to be stewards of the land. We take care of the land takes care of us. You don't get into that life unless you have a passion for it. And some people, they're born into it. Some people find it late, but it's very much, you have to keep in mind, yes, we are using the land as our income, or stock as our income, but we are also preserving this for future generations. So yes, we have mastery over nature, but at the same time, it's a two-way street. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
So it depends on both, and if you take care of it, it's going to take care of you. So
that's a really cool insight. Yeah, I mean because if you don't treat the land well, eventually it's going to come back to
and you'll be broke.
Yeah. Well, Emily, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, and
no problem. Thank you.
Hope to see you again next year.
Definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Well, welcome. Folks, I'm not sure that our next guest here needs much introduction, but I'm going to let him introduce himself anyway. What do you think, Shawn?
I think as soon as they hear his voice, they'll know who he is, but why don't we go ahead and let him introduce himself.
I'm Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor. Good to see you guys.
It's great to see you again, Corey.
Good to see you too, Corey.
So good to have you guys at TexMoot.
It's been great to be a part of the planning team and be such a part of it.
And we get to be in your backyard this year.
Yeah, it's very, very nice to be in my backyard here this time around.
Well, I guess we don't ask that next question. Is this your first time?
I think you've been at Moots before.
I have.
I think you've been at TexMoots before. The theme, as I just said to one of our other guests, is starships, stewards, and storytellers. How imaginary worlds teach us to care for this one. What's been the highlight for you so far? We're about halfway through now.
Well, I've been really I find it really interesting thinking about the kind of different perspectives that we've been getting. I've been really fascinated by, especially just recently. We just finished the panel on the Japanese story, and then the fascinating discussion of that Iranian story about the sentient oil, the Lovecraftian sentient oil trying to take over the world, and just all of these things are I find really stimulating. I mean, of course, obviously, like you guys, I think a lot about Tolkien and spend a lot of time immersed in that world. And so just coming at these things from a completely different, thinking about oil at all, actually, was really stimulating. My first reaction was like, whoa, weird, sentient oil.
I'm still grappling with that one.
Who's even interested in oil? Like, nobody talks about it. Well, in Tolkien, nobody talks about oil, right? So it's like a non-issue in my world, right? So
medieval times, not a lot of oil.
Right, exactly. But the more we began to think about it, the more he talked about it. It was just a really amazingly interesting idea. So. Thinking about the way, we started off kind of talking about stewardship and talking about Tolkien's idea of recovery and the role and importance of fantasy and science fiction and the way that interacts with the real world and prompts us to interact with the real world. And so just kind of seeing the different perspectives on that. I love the Japanese fairy tales talk. That was another one of my favorites. Really cool. Thinking about these kind of traditional ways of these kind of boundaries between humans and nature. And what are the kind of lessons that we can learn from those things? So anyway, there've been I think I've been impressed actually at how broad and kind of broadening the topics have been in this moot so far. We've sometimes, because of a sort of organic bias within our community, have often had very Tolkien-focused moots.
Maybe.
Come to a moot where is about 80% Tolkien talks, which is, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But this has been a really remarkable departure from that, and I found that really interesting.
Well, and it's the more talks we go through, the more I'm seeing how much you can learn about each one. How much you can learn about the whole topic from each one, and how you can bring all that together into sort of a synthesis of what you think on this topic. I mean, like the guy who just now talked about sentient oil, he segued right from the Godzilla talk right before to totally different topics in different parts of the world. So it's been pretty cool. Aside from the Tolkien panel this afternoon, what are you looking forward to?
Well, as always, I'm looking forward to connecting with folks. I'm looking forward to our conversation with the remote attendees at the end, and then dinner with the local attendees afterwards. To me, this is just one of the things that has always made our regional moot program so wonderful. Just the opportunity to go around and not only. Of course, selfishly for me, it's a wonderful opportunity to get to connect with whole bunches of different people, and I always really enjoy that. But just seeing people getting to connect together, that experience that so many people had. I could see people having that same experience about the Stellaris video game presentation. That whole whoa, you too? To be in a place where everybody gets your references and you're kind of able to connect with people on a different level than you're normally able, in your normal daily work life or whatever. And of course, we all have that experience in our online communities, which is why, the online communities that, have arisen, around our podcasts and everything else are so vibrant and wonderful. But it's a really cool experience to be in a room in person. Full of people who all kind of share that, and who can. We had a funny moment. A few of us were at the hotel bar last night talking, and there was Serena made a Star Wars gesture just with a hand gesture. She did the Obi-Wan, these are not
the droids you're looking for.
Movement.
It's not a mind tricks when I work on me.
And everybody, and so it was just, we were having a totally different conversation. She just made that gesture, and everybody laughed
got it,
and incorporated it and moved forward. Absolutely. It's those are the kinds of experiences, when you are among your tribe. Right? And it's just really fun to. Be hosting these, giving people the opportunity to spend a day there, with your tribe. So that's what we've always tried to do with the regionals, and it's a really cool opportunity.
It is, and I'm so glad we're doing it in person again. As well as online. So
and you mentioned getting together with our tribe. We just want to encourage folks to not forget about Myth Moot coming up here in just a few months, and then of course our own moot in October. So please. plan on getting together with your people then.
And watch for the regional moots in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us, Corey. Really appreciate it.
All right.
All right, man, that was our first time being back together in person for over 2 years, and we are so looking forward to the next one and hope it's not 2 years from now.
Absolutely not.
For now, though, let's go ahead and catch up with Frodo and Faramir and an uninvited guest at the Forbidden Pool, which I have to say, the Forbidden Pool makes me think that it's like, I don't know, a pool that's dangerous because the water is super cold or super chlorinated, and my parents won't let me go to that pool because it's in somebody's backyard that they don't like, so it's the Forbidden Pool.
See, I was thinking it's just like a pool at a country club where, like, I'm not rich enough to go there, so it's forbidden to me.
Okay. The other thing I was thinking, it's like the Forbidden Pool. You know, we're coming up on March Madness, and everybody has a pool going, and it's technically illegal, so it's the Forbidden Pool.
And they got to be really secretive about it, too. So it's like, hey, guys, can I be in the pool? Like, no. It is forbidden.
No, that is forbidden.
You are not allowed.
I don't think Tolkien had any of those in mind when he wrote the title.
No, obviously Tolkien was thinking of billiards.
The Forbidden Pool. That's right. Billiards. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sure he was brilliant. A 9-ball man.
Of course he was.
I'm sure someone from the UK is going to come back to me and tell me, like, no, it's probably like, snooker or some
snooker. That's right.
Very British version of pool. I don't play any of those. I've only played 8-ball and 9-ball. Sorry. But we digress.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm also pretty sure he wasn't thinking about Robert Preston in The Music Man singing to the town of River City, Iowa about how we've got trouble right here in River City with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Probably wasn't thinking about that one either.
Probably not. No.
Probably
not.
All right.
Nor Paul Newman.
No, nor Paul Newman. And before we go any further, I'm just going to have you read. Will you start the chapter for us, Shawn?
Oh, please. Yes, let's.
Thank you.
Frodo woke to find Faramir bending over him. For a second, old fears seized him, and he sat up and shrank away. There is nothing to fear, said Faramir. Is it morning already? Said Frodo, yawning. Not yet, but night is drawing to an end, and the full moon is setting. Will you come and see it? Also, there is a matter on which I desire your counsel. I am sorry to rouse you from sleep, but will you come? I will, said Frodo, rising and shivering a little as he left the warm blanket and pelts. It seemed cold in the fireless cave. The noise of the water was loud in the stillness. He put on his cloak and followed Faramir. Sam, waking suddenly by some instinct of watchfulness, saw first his master's empty bed and leapt to his feet. Then he saw 2 dark figures, Frodo and a man, framed against the archway, which was now filled with a pale white light. He hurried after them, past rows of men sleeping on mattresses along the wall. As he went by the cave mouth, he saw that the curtain was now become a dazzling veil of silk and pearls and silver thread, melting icicles of moonlight. But he did not pause to admire it, and turning aside, he followed his master through the narrow doorway in the wall of the cave.
All right, well, let's go ahead and pick back up at the very beginning of the section that you read. When Faramir first wakes Frodo up, it gives him a bit of a flashback, doesn't it? Understandably so, I would add.
Yeah, don't suddenly wake up the guy with the trauma of being attacked by men.
By your brother, who looks like you.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
Coming after the ring that you only found out about last night.
Right.
Like 4 hours ago. Yeah.
Very understandable that he's a little bit nervous here. But, Faramir doesn't overreact. He says quite calmly, look, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I would worry if he said, why do you recoil? I am no thief. Wait a minute now.
I've heard a line like this before, sir.
That sounds really familiar.
What, do they teach that in Gondorian ring-stealing school? Come on.
All stewards' sons learned that line.
That's right. That's their pickup line. Why do you recoil? I am no thief.
That's terrible. Oh, man, that's a terrible pickup line.
You're going to see Faramir in the Houses of Healing with a certain lady of the Rohirrim.
Why do you recoil?
Why do you recoil? I am no thief.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
And Frodo, getting back to the text here, probably still a little bit tired from what was a really long day.
It was. Yeah, it really was.
I mean, remember, all that we just now discussed basically took place in the course of one day. I mean, this is like how many episodes now?
I think 6 or 7 episodes have taken place in a single day.
Yeah. Basically 2 chapters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so Frodo wonders if it's morning.
Yeah. I mean, it's dark. And if it's not morning, you better have a good reason for waking me up, Faramir. Like, I don't know, breakfast. A hot breakfast. Yeah.
But it's not that.
Nope.
It is not a hot breakfast. It's a cold night.
It's not even breakfast at all. Nope.
Nope. It isn't morning. Mm-hmm. Faramir is waking Frodo up to come see the setting moon. Or at least that's his cover. He actually wants Frodo's counsel on something.
Like, man, take a picture. I'll look at it in the morning. I mean, really.
It's the moon. I've seen it before.
The big white thing in the sky. I watched it set last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Faramir, though, I have to say, is apologetic about waking him at least. And I also want to note that Frodo has nearly gotten enough sleep. The scheme tells us, we've referenced scheme a lot. This is where Tolkien's got his timeline of all these things that take place. Moonset about 5 a.m. So it's a little early, but it's not
an early wake up, but it's a reasonable wake up.
Yeah. It's only about a half hour before I wake up most days anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
But it is cold.
Yeah, yeah.
And Frodo puts on his cloak and follows.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea about the water being so loud, right?
Yeah.
This waterfall is cascading over the cave, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically the sound has got to be surrounding them.
Reverberating throughout. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And it's quiet and the men are asleep, so there's no other sound that you're hearing.
Right.
It's got to be just like nothing but waterfall sound.
That must be amazing.
It would be hard for me to wake up because that's exactly the kind of stuff I listen to go to sleep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, Sam, not surprisingly, wakes up and sees Frodo's empty bed first, but then he does see Frodo and Faramir. Presumably Faramir from Sam's perspective. We know it is. He just sees Frodo and a man. He follows after them, and we get to see the waterfall from his perspective briefly. And I love this description. It's so beautiful. A dazzling veil of silk and pearls and silver thread, melting icicles of moonlight.
That is a beautiful description.
Wow, that's
I love
great.
that so much.
Oh,
that would be worth waking up at almost 5 o'clock in the morning, I think.
It would, yeah.
But Sam, he's single-minded here. He's not stopping to pay attention to the scenery, aside from that brief mention.
Yeah.
He's going to follow Frodo.
I'm not even sure he noticed that it looked like that. The narrator tells us that. I don't think Sam...
Well, he must have, because remember, he's writing this memoir sometime in the future.
That's true.
So he must have noticed that.
Fair enough.
I have to think that Sam's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's neat. Where's Frodo?
Moving on. Where's my man?
Yeah. He's thinking about Frodo. And as he moves, we see more of the layout of the place. This is after the passage I read. But we see a dark passage with steps to a landing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that landing is lit by the sky through a shaft above. And then we get 2 flights of stairs.
Mm-hmm. That's right. One of them goes up, possibly to the other bank, and then one goes up a spiral stair to the place where we're going to go right after this ad break.
We'll get there soon enough. Now, before we get back to the discussion and figuring out where those 2 staircases went, we want to make sure you know that when you finish listening to this episode, the talk continues all night long at the Prancing Pony Podcast.
That's right. Our amazing listener community keeps the conversation going in all of our social media spaces, from our common room on Facebook to our Reddit community, Twitter, and more.
Now, on Facebook, just look for the Prancing Pony Podcast and be sure to follow our page, but also join the group for some really great discussions.
And you can find us on Reddit at r/PrancingPonyPod. And we're also at Prancing Pony Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
And don't forget to check out our brand new podcast, The Rings of Power Wrap-Up. We're going to be discussing, analyzing, and speculating all about Amazon's television adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth.
That's right. We're going to take deep dives into the lore behind the show. We're going to talk about our favorite themes and characters and a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. So look for The Rings of Power Wrap-Up and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And check out our social media at Rings Wrap Up for more.
And now we're going to go ahead and get back to the text.
Yes, indeed. And you have got the next passage.
Indeed, I do. At last they came out of the stony darkness and looked about. They were on a wide, flat rock without rail or parapet. At their right, eastwards, the torrent fell, splashing over many terraces. And then, Pouring down a steep race, it filled a smooth-hewn channel with a dark force of water flecked with foam, and curling and rushing almost at their feet, it plunged sheer over the edge that yawned upon their left. A man stood there, near the brink, silent, gazing down. Frodo turned to watch the sleek necks of the water as they curved and dived. Then he lifted his eyes and gazed far away. The world was quiet and cold, as if dawn were near. Far off in the west, the full moon was sinking, round and white. Pale mists shimmered in the great vale below, a wide gulf of silver fume, beneath which rolled the cool night waters of the Anborn. A black darkness loomed beyond, and in it glinted here and there, cold, sharp, remote, white as the teeth of ghosts, the peaks of Ered Nimrais, the white mountains of the realm of Gondor, tipped with everlasting snow. For a while, Frodo stood there on the high stone, and a shiver ran through him, wondering if anywhere in the vastness of the Nightlands his old companions walked or slept or lay dead, shrouded in mist. Why was he brought here out of forgetful sleep? Sam was eager for an answer to the same question, and could not refrain himself from muttering, for his master's ear alone, as he thought, "It's a fine view, no doubt, Mr. Frodo, but chilly to the heart, not to mention the bones. What's going on?" Faramir heard and answered. "Moonset over Gondor. Fair Ithil, as he goes from Middle-earth, glances upon the white locks of old Mindalluin. It is worth a few shivers, but that is not what I brought you to see. Though as for you, Samwise, you were not brought, and do but pay the penalty of your watchfulness. A draught of wine shall amend it. Come, look now."
Well, that doesn't sound so bad.
No.
Nice little balcony view, drinking a little glass
5
of
o'clock
wine.
in the morning, a little early for some wine, but all right.
Day
fine.
drinking, absolutely.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I think they mean the afternoon.
Yeah, right. All right. Yeah, all right. Well, going back to the beginning of that passage, we are out on a wide, flat rock without a railing.
OSHA's going to have something to say about this, man.
Little scary.
It is. It's nerve-wracking. There's a place in Yosemite where you can look out. It's on Glacier Point, where you can really get looking over the ledge. And I can't even watch people doing it because I'm just, no.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like, I don't even want to go like on any of those places where, like, you know, they have like those glass platforms over the Grand Canyon.
No. There's not enough money in the world.
Or like glass bottom boats, you know, there's the places in Tahiti that they have like the glass bottom. You can look out at the water. No, sorry.
On a boat, I think I might be willing to do that. The one over the Grand Canyon, not a chance. No. Or like the ones that are on the skyscrapers and stuff. No. Terrifying. But anyway.
So anyway.
They're not afraid.
Fortunately, it's not a glass bottom, but it is not a railing. And
No.
And somehow this feels even scarier than Lothlorien did, but
it does a little bit.
Anyway, to the right as they look out was the river just before the falls.
That's how I'm seeing it, at least. I mean, I'm having a hard time here picturing the way the stairs work and the way this parapet with the river and the waterfall.
So this is an interesting description. I think we need to kind of parse this out a little bit to really set the scene.
Yeah, because I have to admit, I've been a little confused.
Yeah, I mean, so it's looking like at their right, which is to the east. Now, of course, they're going to look at the moon set, so they're going to be looking west. But
so it's more like maybe on their right shoulder behind them a little bit?
Possibly, yeah, maybe a little bit behind. The torrent is falling, splashing over terraces. So there must be a waterfall that's above them and then splashing down on sort of a somewhat flat surface, probably not completely flat, obviously, but, you know, it's more level. It's not straight down.
Just the terraces, but then it pours down a steep race, which is a really, really sharply angled, descent.
And then it kind of curls around, goes down almost at their feet, and then plunges over the edge on their left. So yeah, it's like the water's coming down to their right, and then it's kind of going past them, and then it's going down out of sight to the left.
So it's almost as though there's a little bit of a shorter waterfall, like a cascade, if you will, coming down from their right. That's where you got the mini terraces. And then all of that water comes back together through the channel that goes right in front of their feet and then over the main edge of the falls to their left.
And, you know, I'm going to bring this up later anyway, but there's actually a depiction of this in Karen Wynne Fonstad's Atlas of Middle-earth, which
Yes.
I planned to pull out later, but as we're talking about this, trying to visualize it, I pulled out that page again. And she does kind of depict it with terraces and like sort of a very subtle grade past where they are.
Yeah.
And then it just drops off
whoosh.
to the left. Yeah. To the left and the west.
Okay. And we thought for a minute they're looking to the west, and they can look to the west. But really, if you're thinking about this, if the cascade is to the right and the falls are to the left, the parapet really faces to the north. They're on the south edge of the river.
Yeah.
If they were facing the way the parapet naturally faces, they would be facing to the north. But if they look to their right, they see the cascade coming down. Then they look to the west, they're going to see the setting moon, and they're going to see the falls going over the edge.
So the parapet must face north or be
open to all three directions. But yeah. Wow. Okay. Only slightly confusing, but I think we've got it. And as confusing as part of that description is, the water itself is a very visceral description, isn't it? You can really see or hear or feel the water going.
Yeah.
All the steep race and the foam and the curling and rushing and the plunging. It's brilliant phrasing.
There's a lot of motion conveyed in this phrasing
there
and
is.
a lot of sound. And
yeah,
it's a really nice description.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not alone.
No.
There's someone near the edge looking down.
Right.
And then we get Frodo's perspective. We see him watching the sleek necks of the water as they go over the edge.
I love that phrase. I mean, if you've ever stood near a waterfall, you know exactly what he's talking about when he says this, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. You see the water kind of gathering in these, these little vertical streams, right? That's how I'm picturing this. And,
they do look almost intact. They look like a solid thing. They don't look like they're made of splashing water. They look like a solid object in some ways.
Yeah. And I like the description of them as sleek because, they're going to be wet. They're going to be shining. They're going to look smooth like glass.
Mm-hmm. Especially at this hour of the night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he looks off into the distance.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when you get this sense of the dawn being near. I've got to say, because I've been out doing, night photography and things like that before. If you've ever been out in the wilderness, there really is a different feel about an hour or so before dawn than there is in the middle of the night. It is colder. It is often damper, I've noticed. And it definitely has a different feel, even long before the light changes, long before you can sort of see the slight purple at the horizon. Definitely has a different feel. So we get the setting moon. Again, just as a reminder, folks, it's March 8th and about 5 a.m., just to kind of help you get that set.
Thank you for that. And then we get this description of the Vale of Anduin and the mountains off in the distance, the Ered Nimrais.
Right. The White Mountains. And Frodo begins to think about the rest of the company. And really, this reminds me of Pippin in our recent Meanwhile Elsewhere in Middle-earth segment. We read there that he wondered where Frodo was and if he was already in Mordor or if he was dead. And he did not know that Frodo from far away looked on that same moon as it set beyond Gondor ere the coming of the day. I love that. So they're both thinking of each other at the same time.
Yeah, because we see Frodo's also wondering about his friends, right?
Yeah.
And having very similar thoughts about it. He's wondering if his friends are journeying or if they're resting or if they're dead.
Yeah.
Very much the same thing as what Pippin's wondering.
Absolutely. He also wonders, as I would, frankly, why he'd been dragged out of bed for this.
It's really beautiful, Faramir, but come on.
It's cold and I'm tired. I had a long day. I'd like some sleep.
Yeah. And Sam's thoughts are along the same lines.
Yeah.
And he gives voice to them, actually.
Well, when does Sam not give voice to his thoughts?
I know, right? Thinking that he's speaking quietly enough for only Frodo to hear him, but that's not exactly how it works out.
Right, but Faramir's a ranger, so, he's attentive and aware. He hears Sam. It's like that moment in the film,
To Rivendell, Master Gamgee.
To Rivendell, Master Gamgee, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so Faramir answers the question for him. He tells them what they're looking at. Right. This is moonset over Gondor. And the description is absolutely lovely.
It is, isn't it?
Fair Ithil, of course, that's the moon.
Yeah.
Glancing upon the white locks of old Mindalluin. I absolutely love that. I also note that he refers to the moon as he, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that takes us back to the Silmarillion. We know that.
It sure does, with the sun being a she and the moon being a he. Yeah.
Not only is that from the Silmarillion, but it's also in Germanic mythology as well, where the moon is a he and the sun is a she. But back to this text, as beautiful as this is, Frodo, this is not why you're here.
No, it is not. And Sam, by the way, you have no right to complain. You are here of your own volition. So shut your mouth. But hey, more wine might help. Never mind that it might also mean you can spill some more secrets. I'm sure Faramir is not thinking that at all.
Probably not. No, not at all. No.
Have a little of the hair of the dog.
Have a little more wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What are we doing up so early? No, you shouldn't be up this early. Like,
that's right.
Go back to bed. You're not invited.
Yeah, you're not part of this little gathering. Yeah.
Right.
But then I'm going to have you pick up in a section of the chapter that I've called Anborn's Hissing Black Tail of Squirrel.
Oh, Anborn.
Oh, Anborn, we're still not done with you. All right.
No, we are
It's
not.
just a couple of sentences in, and then they pick right back up.
Far below them, they saw the white waters pour into a foaming bowl, and then swirl darkly about a deep oval basin in the rocks, until they found their way out again through a narrow gate and flowed away, fuming and chattering, into calmer and more level reaches. The moonlight still slanted down to the fall's foot and gleamed on the ripples of the basin. Presently, Frodo was aware of a small dark thing on the near bank, but even as he looked at it, it dived and vanished just beyond the boil and bubble of the fall, cleaving the black water as neatly as an arrow or an edgewise stone. Faramir turned to the man at his side. "Now what would you say that it is, Anborn? A squirrel? Or a kingfisher? Are there black kingfishers in the night pools of Mirkwood?" "'Tis not a bird, whatever else it be," answered Anborn. "It has 4 limbs and dives manwise. A pretty mastery of the craft it shows, too. What is it at? Seeking a way up behind the curtain to our hidings? It seems we are discovered at last. I have my bow here, and I have posted other archers, nigh as good marksmen as myself, on either bank. We wait only for your command to shoot, Captain." "Shall we shoot?" said Faramir, turning quickly to Frodo.
What are you asking me for?
I don't know.
What?
You're the captain.
By the way, I love Anborn's comment. "'Tis not a bird, whatever else it be." Come on, boss. I'm not stupid.
Right? I know. I know.
I might have thought it's a squirrel, but I know it's not a bird.
And yet he goes way too far towards explaining why he doesn't think it's a bird.
Of course it's not a bird. It has 4 limbs. It dives like a man. It's pretty good at it.
And I think that for Anborn, this is actually a pretty bright observation.
Yeah,
like, no, of course it's not a bird. I mean, look, it has 4 limbs and it dives manwise. Like, yeah, I know it's not a bird, Anborn.
I knew that when I asked the question.
I'm messing with you.
I kind of think he is. I mean, look, I know we're kind of gambling here and saying that this is how we're reading it, but I do see Faramir being a little tongue-in-cheek here.
I do too.
Giving Anborn some grief for his interpretation of the 3-foot-tall golem as a squirrel.
I do too, yeah. I think that's what's going on here. And we know that Faramir does kind of joke around with his men, right?
Yeah.
The men thought that he was having some jest with Frodo and Sam. So
That's right.
I don't think he's above some good-natured ribbing with his men.
No. And I don't think Anborn's above taking it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything mean about it.
Oh, no, not at all. He's just ribbing him. But going back to the passage, the few lines actually before the passage you read. So Faramir and Frodo, not Sam, step up onto the ledge with Anborn. Sam, I'm with Sam on this one, actually.
No, thank you, Master. I'll stay back.
I'm going to stay right here. And now we get a look into the pool below, don't we?
Yes, we do. We see white waters pouring into a bowl, swirling about an oval basin. Again, so much motion in this description.
It really is. Oh, I love that fuming and chattering.
Yeah.
Love that.
Swirling out and then going out a narrow gate.
Mm-hmm.
And we see moonlight still reaching the foot of the fall and the water in the basin. So it's still glowing with this white light.
It really is pretty. I mean, what a scene. But then Frodo sees this small dark thing that then dives into the water. I've got to ask, I mean, we know who it is. We're not surprised. This isn't a spoiler to tell you that it's Gollum.
No.
Do you think Frodo recognized him instantly? Maybe it took a second or two, or maybe only after Faramir asks him to shoot did he put 2 and 2 together? What do you think?
I mean, I think it probably took a second or two.
Yeah.
And I mean, like only a second, maybe less than a second, because I think the narrator tells us that, you know, it was a small dark thing at first. So that tells me that he didn't immediately recognize him, but he had to have recognized him before Faramir asks.
The minute he dives into the water, that's going to be Gollum.
I mean, he's spent enough time with Gollum. He knows the way he moves. It's not like he moves quite like anything else in Middle-earth. So
no, that's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
So Faramir then turns to Anborn gives him a little grief. And this now we do know that it is actually Anborn, who's the other guy.
Right. That's true. Because at first we just know it's a man, right? It's just somebody out there. Yeah.
And Faramir's kind of, again, we think, messing with Anborn because of his earlier assumption about Gollum. And he says, like, yeah, now what do you think it is now? You think it's a squirrel? You think it's a kingfisher? What do you think?
Now, I think that's pretty funny because a kingfisher, by the way, a kingfisher is a bird, but it's a usually brightly colored bird with a large head and a long, sharp beak. And it is almost certainly not what is down there, which is why I can't help but read a little sarcasm in Faramir's
Totally. Yeah. There's nothing Gollum-like about a kingfisher, and there's nothing kingfisher-like about Gollum.
No, there's not, other than the love of water is about it.
Right. Now, I mean, it could be that he genuinely wonders, given the fact that the creature dives quickly into the water, but I'm sure he doesn't think it's a kingfisher. I
don't think he does either.
Definitely, to me, seems like he's messing with one of his men.
I think so. And Anborn says with, honestly, startling clarity, given his previous confusion, that whatever it is, it's not a bird, boss. It's not a bird.
There's light out, boss. I can see now.
That's true. In fairness to him,
it was dark,
pretty dark.
Boss.
Dives like a man. It has 4 limbs, and it's pretty good in the water. Yeah.
Dives like a man. It dives man-wise, Alan.
Okay.
I know everyone can tell what this word means, but it's such an odd word.
It is an odd word, isn't it?
It is. I had to do a little word nerdery on it. I mean, everybody's seen wise as a suffix.
Yeah.
We use it all the time these days. It's actually very old in English, typically, historically at least, meaning in the manner of or in the way of.
Yeah.
And it is still a productive suffix, by which I mean you can still just like pick any word and add wise to it and create, create an adverb.
Podcast wise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Podcast wise, I like the Prancing Pony podcast.
Yeah.
But see, even there, you can see like the meaning of it has changed a little bit in modern English. Tend to use it now meaning something more like as regards or with respect to. The OED gives examples like acting wise, I like Katharine Hepburn, or vastly improved money wise, or podcast wise, I like the Prancing Pony. It's really as regards. And that really was originally a US variation that became more popular over time. But the suffix did originally in English originally meant in the manner of. So man-wise, in the manner of a man. It moved like a man. And that used to be the primary meaning of that suffix, even though it's changed a little bit now.
Interesting. I'm curious because we actually saw that same suffix in a word just a paragraph earlier.
We did.
Talking about Gollum as neatly as an arrow or an edgewise stone.
Yeah, that's right. Now that's interesting. Edgewise mean like, that's almost like ways. Like you might say sideways. It's edgeways, edgewise.
Yeah, that's different because that's not in the manner of an edge.
No, you're right. It's another shade of meaning entirely.
It's another version of that suffix. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah.
Well, Anborn, he starts wondering aloud what this thing's purpose is. He's moving away from the identification of it because he frankly doesn't want to linger there any more than he has to.
No.
And oh man, it seems we're discovered at last. It must be trying to find a way into our little hiding place.
Yeah, and then he's like, but, hey, we can take care of this. I've got myself here. We've got other good marksmen who we hope can spot a squirrel from a small person in the dusk.
Poor Anborn.
Yeah, all we're waiting for is your command, Faramir.
That's right. We just want you to give the word. Say the word. We'll fill him like a pincushion.
Take care of this thing.
We'll go full Celebrimbor on this guy.
I'm so glad you said that. I was about to say that. That's great. Boss, remember that story we read back in school?
That's right.
The one about Celebrimbor? Yeah, we're going to do that.
That's terrible. Poor Celebrimbor. Yeah.
And then Faramir asked to make the decision, surprises everyone by saying, well,
let me ask my guest.
Little stranger from an obscure suburb far to the west, what do you think we should do?
Should we shoot him? Why are you asking me, man? We know, of course, that he wants to say no, so he does. And I'm going to pick up actually in the next paragraph because, again, this is one of those things where I have to skip something. And I chose to skip the obvious part, which is Frodo saying, no, don't shoot.
Yep.
We'll still talk about it, though. Faramir picks up and says, come, now you have seen, tell me why it should be spared. In all our words together, you have not once spoken of your gangrel companion, and I let him be for the time. He could wait till he was caught and brought before me. I sent my keenest huntsmen to seek him, but he slipped them, and they had no sight of him till now, save Anborn here once at dusk yesterday evening. But now he has done worse trespass than only to go coney snaring in the uplands. He has dared to come to Henneth noon, and his life is forfeit. I marvel at the creature, so secret and so sly as he is, to come sporting in the pool before our very window. Does he think that men sleep without watch all night? Why does he so? There are two answers, I think, said Frodo. For one thing, he knows little of men, and sly though he is, your refuge is so hidden that perhaps he does not know that men are concealed here. For another, I think he is allured here by a mastering desire, stronger than his caution. He is lured here, you say, said Faramir in a low voice. Does he then know of your burden? Indeed, yes. He bore it himself for many years. He bore it, said Faramir, breathing sharply in his wonder. This matter winds itself ever in new riddles. Then he is pursuing it? Maybe. It is precious to him, but I did not speak of that. What then does the creature seek? Fish, said Frodo. Look. I love that.
I love that. That's so weirdly funny to me.
It is. It's like Frodo setting him up to think about the ring.
Yeah.
Allured here by a mastering desire stronger than his caution. He's not saying, I think he's here because he's hungry.
Right, that's true.
He phrases it in this really kind of flowery way, and of course that's going to lead Faramir to think,
what?
Is he
really
coming after the ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Frodo's messing with Faramir a little bit here, too.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think he does want to point out that Gollum once bore the ring, and boy, I'll tell you what, it's nice to finally throw Faramir for a loop here.
Yeah.
Because he kind of knows everything you're going to say before you say it.
Yeah, he doesn't miss much in a conversation.
No.
So, well, going back to the bit that we did skip, Faramir's asked Frodo, okay, should we shoot? And Frodo can't imagine that this is what Frodo imagined he'd be dealing with.
No, I'm pretty sure he had no idea that he'd wake up and be the Court of Appeals for the Rangers of Ithilien.
Right. I'm sure he did.
Well, let me call the governor's office and see if we can get a pardon for this guy.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, so you're waking me up before 5 o'clock in the morning to make a decision about somebody's life. Okay. Yeah.
If you wake me up at that hour, everybody's going to die. Let's just be honest.
After I've had some coffee.
That's right.
Maybe a bowl of cereal, people start to live. But yeah.
That's right.
That early, no. So then after a moments of stunned silence, he begs them not to shoot.
Yeah, that's right.
I love, but I also like, oh God, Sam, come on. Sam had to bite his tongue not to say yes. You know, he would have just been like.
Faster and louder.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, shoot.
I don't even know who you're looking at because I'm not at the edge of the parapet looking down, but I'm pretty darn sure it's Gollum.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. So then Faramir returns to the question he asked earlier when they first met. You know, hey, we know there's a third of your company. The skulking fellow with his nose in the pool.
That's
guy
right.
With the ill-favored look. Spying breed of orc, some creature of theirs.
Yeah, he had some things to say about this third person in the party. Now, at the time, I have to say, Frodo did a pretty admirable job of kind of briefly acknowledging his company. I mean, there's a little confusion like, no, we don't really know who he is. We don't know him, but I'm kind of responsible for him, so please don't kill him. Right? There's that bit. But then he moved on to other topics really deftly, and he hasn't been brought up since.
No, but Faramir, always playing the verbal chess game that he's playing.
Oh, yeah. The long game, yeah.
Yeah, playing the long game, exactly. He hasn't been a topic of conversation, but that does not mean that Faramir has forgotten him.
No.
And in fact, we see just the opposite here. Faramir has been paying attention, and he reminds Frodo that, look, in all of our conversations, and we have been talking a whole lot.
A whole lot. 5 episodes worth.
Yeah. Frodo, you haven't mentioned him not once. So Faramir has, not only has he not forgotten about him, he has been paying attention to see if Frodo would bring him up.
That's exactly right. And Faramir, again, not only perceptive in what he picks up on, but proactive in thinking ahead. Like we said, playing chess, right? He's several moves ahead. He admits that he's let Gollum be. Well, he didn't know it's Gollum. He's let this gangrel creature be because, we could deal with him when we caught him. Oh, yeah, that's right, Frodo. That's right. I've had huntsmen tracking him down this whole time. You haven't talked about him, and neither have I, but I've still been doing so.
We've been dealing with it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we got the the mention of Anborn's brief encounter with the squirrel, which... Mm-hmm. So this kind of cements the thinking behind that sideways glance that Sam noticed at the time.
Yeah, remember Sam caught Faramir looking at them when Anborn was describing what happened, and now we know. Oh, yeah.
Faramir knew what was going on the whole time.
He really did. And the thing is, though, Faramir is now in a situation where, look, we ignored it for a while, but we can't ignore it anymore. This isn't just some guy you were traveling with. And now he's come to Henethanoon, and the penalty for that is, death.
Yeah, but, hey, got to give some respect. I mean, he's stealthy and he's quiet, and he's had the guts to come right up here.
Mad props. I'm going to have to kill him,
right?
But, yeah. Or maybe he's stupid. Maybe he thinks men don't pay attention.
Yeah, and Frodo suggests what I think is the right answer, which is that he simply doesn't know that the hideout is here.
No.
I mean, this refuge is really well hidden.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that he's just very one-dimensional. He's after one thing at a time. If he wanted to get in, he would find the place and he'd already be in throttling your guys.
Yeah, but he says that your refuge is so hidden that perhaps he doesn't even know that there are men here.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
I think he has no idea that there are people here.
I'm with you. I think the water makes the scent probably impossible for him to pick up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Frodo tells us that, look, there's something else. There's a mastering desire pulling him here. And we talked about that.
And like we said, all right, that makes Faramir think that, well, wait a minute, is this creature being lured by your burden, by the ring? And he uses the phrase the burden, and he is still speaking in a low voice, again, trying to be discreet because Anborn's there.
Yeah.
And that leads Frodo to drop some info that clearly surprised Faramir. We talked about this, right as we wrapped up the passage. Pretty cool to pull a fast one over on Faramir to get something by him that he didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy, that guy that you just watched dive into the water, he once bore the ring himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a shock to Faramir.
Mic drop. Yeah.
Yeah. But then Frodo goes on to say, look, that's actually not why he's here, though.
I know. Yeah. No, it's the fish.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fish. It's a great place to come for seafood. He's heard about the sushi on Yelp, and he wants to come and get some. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Sitting right at the sushi bar and start ordering.
That's right. At 5:00 in the morning.
That's the only way to do it. You got to get there at 5:00 in the morning. Otherwise,
this place is so
packed.
Popular. It's jammed. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
By 7 in the morning, you're talking about a 3-hour wait. It's crazy.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and have you pick up right after that.
All right. They peered down at the dark pool. A little black head appeared at the far end of the basin, just out of the deep shadow of the rocks. There was a brief silver glint and a swirl of tiny ripples. It swam to the side, and then, with marvelous agility, a frog-like figure climbed out of the water and up the bank. At once it sat down and began to gnaw at the small silver thing that glittered as it turned. The last rays of the moon were now falling behind the stony wall at the pool's end. Faramir laughed softly. "Fish," he said. "It is a less perilous hunger. Or maybe not. Fish from the pool of Henethanoon may cost him all he has to give." "Now I have him at the arrow point," said Anborn. "Shall I not shoot, Captain? For coming unbidden to this place, death is our law." "Wait, Anborn," said Faramir. "This is a harder matter than it seems. What have you to say now, Frodo? Why should we spare?" "The creature is wretched and hungry," said Frodo, "and unaware of his danger. And Gandalf, your Mithrandir, he would have bidden you not to slay him for that reason, and for others. He forbade the elves to do so. I do not know clearly why, and of what I guess I cannot speak openly out here. But this creature is in some way bound up with my errand. Until you found us and took us, he was my guide." "Your guide?" said Faramir. "The matter becomes ever stranger."
Yes, it does.
Quite.
I love that, ending on another mic drop,
Yeah.
Oh.
Frodo's like, you know what? You know the big secret now, so I'm just going to start dropping all kinds of crazy stuff on you. Here.
Yeah, you'll never believe this. You didn't believe that? Let me tell you. He's also our guide. So now we get a closer look at the creature in the water, going back to the beginning of the part you read, as a little black head pops up out of the surface and then swims to the edge. You get this frog-like creature climbing onto the bank to sit down and eat a fish, who's probably none too happy about it.
Yep. And Faramir is laughing. He's probably a bit relieved that this creature is actually after fish and not the ring, understandably so.
Or after his secret hideout, now that I think about it.
Oh, that's true, yeah. But he points out, these fish are going to be expensive. This is the really good sashimi.
Yeah.
The price for coming here is death, after all. So this might be the most expensive fish you ever bought.
It's a restaurant that you only go to one time.
That's right.
You never get to come back.
Because they kill you before you leave. And the Yelp reviews are terrible. We don't know why.
There are no Yelp reviews.
My husband went there on a business for a business dinner. I never saw him again.
And now he's dead. And of course, Anborn politely reminds Faramir, it's our law. We're supposed to kill people.
Like Faramir doesn't know that.
I know. Come on. Faramir probably knows the law better than you do, Anborn.
Don't quote the code at me, young man.
That's right. It's more like guidelines. Yeah. So Faramir chooses to wait, as he often does. Remember, when we first met him, he was under orders to kill Frodo and Sam, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're not with Minas Tirith, they are to die.
That's right.
And he should have killed them upon sight 2 chapters ago and didn't. And his waiting is key.
Yeah. And so he asks Frodo again, look, why shouldn't we follow our law and shoot him?
I like that. It sets up Frodo to give an answer to spare. The default is to carry out judgment.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's, if you can't come up with a good reason, then we're going to do this thing. And yeah, shooting Gollum, it doesn't sound very nice, but it is the rule. It's the law. He's supposed to do it. And he's giving Frodo a chance now to come up with a reason why they should not follow the law. And he gives a really wise answer, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. And first, it's because he's wretched and hungry.
Yeah.
Remember, wretched means very unhappy or unfortunate. We did some word rhetoric on that not too long ago. But second, because Gandalf, or Mithrandir, as you know him, Faramir, he would have said, don't kill him.
That's right. And that's a really good way of getting to Faramir here, because, of course, Faramir clearly has respect for Mithrandir, for Gandalf. But then he explains why it is that Gandalf would have said not to. And it's partly because of the reasons I just told you. Partly because he's wretched and hungry.
Yeah.
And Gandalf would be telling you to have pity on him.
Yeah.
And after all, by the way, he told the elves, those other people you have a ton of respect for, that they couldn't kill him either. He did tell them to please keep him in jail, and they failed at that. But that's beside the point.
Frodo really does appeal to, the authority of Gandalf and the elves,
Yeah, he does.
In trying to convince Faramir here. And you know what I really like about this is, you said that it's a very wise answer from Frodo. It is, but it's also an incredibly compassionate answer.
It is, isn't it?
It reminds me of the conversation we had, I want to say it was near the beginning of this season. Remember we had the conversation about mercy?
Yes.
And you made the observation that mercy can never be deserved. Mercy is...
by its definition, right.
Yeah, mercy is basically like, you've done something wrong. And yes, the normal punishment would be to kill you for trespassing in the Forbidden Pool.
Yeah.
But Frodo advises showing mercy. Yeah, it is absolutely deserved to go ahead and follow your law and kill him, but I'm going to say no, and here's why.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
I do too.
And then he even says, I don't even really know why Gandalf doesn't want us to kill him. He kind of has an unspoken guess, but he doesn't really know.
Yeah.
But he does say that somehow he is connected to and he's bound up with my quest.
Wow. Man, that's huge.
Yeah.
It is, of course, as we know. Those of us who've read it all the way through know he's incredibly central to Frodo's quest. But yeah. Oh, and by the way, he was our guide until we ran into you, Faramir, which, what now?
Which, just like the revelation about the ring, that gets a very genuine surprise from Faramir.
It really does.
And this is a guy who's not easily surprised, as we've said many times.
No, he usually catches things long before you've bothered to say them, yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you pick up right there.
All right. I would do much for you, Frodo, but this I cannot grant. To let this sly wanderer go free at his own will from here, to join you later if it please him, or to be caught by orcs and tell all he knows under threat of pain. He must be slain or taken. Slain if he be not taken very swiftly. But how can this slippery thing of many guises be caught, save by a feathered shaft? Let me go down quietly to him, said Frodo. You may keep your bows bent, and shoot me at least if I fail. I shall not run away. Go then and be swift, said Faramir. If he comes off alive, he should be your faithful servant for the rest of his unhappy days. Lead Frodo down to the bank, Anborn, and go softly. The thing has a nose and ears. Give me your bow. And I'm going to stop there again, only because we just can't read the whole darn thing.
Yeah.
But we will discuss this whole section.
Well, there's a lot to discuss here.
There is.
Faramir says rightly, like, look, I want to help you. He clearly wants to help Frodo, but he says, I just can't do it. I just cannot let him go free. The stakes are too high.
They really are. He is a security risk, and he is. Mm-hmm. He may not care that there are men there, but if he has smelled them or saw them or knows that they're there, but is just ignoring them, and the orcs capture him, he's right. I mean, he is a security risk, and he either needs to be killed or taken prisoner. And the fact is, because he's so quick and can get away so easily, if we can't take him right away, we just got to kill him.
Yeah, and he even adds, like, I don't even know how we could catch him without killing him. He uses this wonderful wording, how can he be caught save by a feathered shaft?
Mm.
He's slippery. He's fast. He's going to be hard to catch. Faramir knows that.
Yeah, he does.
But Frodo has an idea here. Frodo thinks that he can actually play a role in helping them capture Gollum. And
wow,
this is amazing. He is actually willing to risk his own life in the attempt.
He is. I wonder, though, if he knows that Faramir would never shoot him.
Probably. But what about Anborn? What about one of the other guys? I mean,
that's a good point. No, you're right. And Anborn might try to shoot Gollum and still hit Frodo.
Yeah.
No, I know. He says he's a really good marksman. I have to take him at his word.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Everything we've seen of Anborn suggests that he's a really good marksman. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he may not have great vision at dusk or great animal recognition, but, it doesn't mean he can't hit a target.
I don't know what it is, boss, but I can shoot it.
I can shoot it. If I can see it, I can shoot it. I didn't say I can identify it.
Yeah.
I usually don't identify it until after I've shot it, boss.
Oh, what'd you bag out hunting, Anborn? I don't know.
I don't know yet.
It was a brown blur.
It was moving around and I shot it.
Smelled like fish. I don't know.
So Faramir sends Anborn to lead Frodo to the pool, but takes his bow for his own use, which I note. And then he observes, by the way, just how grateful Gollum should be if he lives through this. I'm not sure that Gollum shares that same opinion.
I don't think Gollum is capable of understanding the depth of the sacrifice that Frodo is making here or offering to make. Like you say, he's probably not going to be shot, but the fact that he does kind of offer up his own life if necessary. Yeah, shoot me if, I'm not going to run away.
That's pretty amazing given his change of heart here in a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, Anborn leads Frodo back down to the landing and then up the other stair to a hidden opening.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time visualizing the way these stairs work with the falls, the chamber, the ledge, and so on. I at least get the one. I get the fact that they come up to this landing and there are two stairs, and one of them is a spiral staircase that leads to where they are now. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't get the other one because the text said earlier that it goes up, right? Mm-hmm. What does it say? One going on, as it seemed, up onto the high bank of the stream. And yet that ends up being the stair that they go up for him to go down to the pool.
It's actually really tough to visualize. But going back to Karen Wynne Fonstad's Atlas of Middle-earth, she actually has done a really good job of depicting this.
Mm-hmm.
So all this is on page 142 of the book. And earlier I was talking about this sort of cutaway showing sort of the elevation of the falls and everything. We were talking about the water coming in from the right and then, falling down on the left. Right above that, there's a map that shows how there's this path to a landing, and then there are two very clear passages off from the landing. And the first one kind of winds up to the ledge shaft, which they're on now. But what they're basically going to do is they're going to go down back to the landing and then take a path to the right, basically. And that actually goes down to this lower ledge closer to the pool.
Okay, so it starts out above, like the same kind of height where they are now.
Right.
But in a different location, and then there's a trail from there, not necessarily even a trail, but some manner of getting down.
Some passage down. Yeah, hewn passages is how she labels it on the map.
Okay. All right.
And so it's some little passage down to this little spot.
Yeah.
It's really tough to visualize, but I think that this image in the book, in the Atlas, really kind of helps me get a better sense of it than I had before.
Okay.
So folks, take a look at that.
Yeah, please do.
And so they go down. Frodo can't see Gollum yet, but he's told to go forward by Anborn.
Right. Just be careful, because only Gollum can save you if you fall in the water from here. And I'm not sure he would.
No.
Actually, he would come after you and get the ring. Yeah, that's exactly what he'd do.
So Frodo keeps moving forward, slowly, using his hands, and at first he can't hear anything but the waterfall, but that does change.
Oh, yeah, of course it'd be incredibly loud. I mean, that much water coming down.
Yeah.
Big, big waterfall. But eventually, as he gets close enough, he hears a familiar hissing voice murmuring. Who do you think that might be? That's right. It's our old friend, Smeagol.
And I'm about to read his dialogue.
Yes, you are. You're going to pick up right there with Fish.
Fish. Nice fish. Whiteface has vanished, my precious, at last, yes. Now we can eat fish in peace. No, not in peace, precious, for precious is lost. Yes, lost. Dirty hobbits, nasty hobbits. Gone and left us, Gollum. And precious is gone. Only poor Smeagol all alone. No precious. Nasty men, they'll take it, steal my precious. Thieves. We hates them. Fish, nice fish. Makes us strong. Makes eyes bright. Fingers tight, yes. Throttle them, precious. Throttle them all, yes, if we gets chances. Nice fish. Nice fish.
So it went on, almost as unceasing as the waterfall, only interrupted by a faint noise of slavering and gurgling. Frodo shivered, listening with pity and disgust. He wished it would stop, and that he never need hear that voice again. Anborn was not far behind. He could creep back and ask him to get the huntsman to shoot. They would probably get close enough while Gollum was gorging and off his guard. Only one true shot, and Frodo would be rid of the miserable voice forever. But no, Gollum had a claim on him now. The servant has a claim on the master for service, even service in fear. They would have foundered in the dead marshes but for Gollum. Frodo knew, too, somehow, quite clearly, that Gandalf would not have wished it.
No, he wouldn't. Boy, I can sure understand why he feels the way he does.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Well, we've had the joy of not doing Gollum's voice for several episodes now. It was kind of a nice break here in the middle of this season, but here we go.
Yeah. And it's always fun to do, if a little bit painful.
It is. It was a fantastic reading, by the way. I got to tell you, I got absolute chills.
Oh,
as you know, throttle them all if we get chances. Like, ah!
Thank you. Appreciate that. It was a fun one. Gollum's always fun, especially when he gets really creepy like this.
Yeah.
But we actually start on a more innocuous topic, one of Gollum's favorite topics, fish.
Yeah, fish. That's absolutely right.
The moon's set. Gollum's set to enjoy a little pre-dawn fish breakfast. Why not?
Mm-hmm. You know, and at first he's thinking about how he can enjoy things now in peace, but then that doesn't last very long before he shifts to his usual complaining and whinging. Dirty, nasty hobbits, they left us alone, you know, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Poor me.
Do you think this is Gollum or Smeagol? I think this is Gollum.
Do you? I don't know, because he says that Smeagol, you know, only poor Smeagol all alone. I think this is still Smeagol.
That's true, but he gets pretty murderous pretty quick here.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe it is Smeagol here. Maybe the whining is more Smeagol.
Yeah, and then I think we go from thieves, we hates them. That's when Gollum comes out.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Yeah, and then that's when we start to see that he knows they went off with Faramir. You know, nasty men, they'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to take the ring. So, of course, he hates them too, right?
Preemptively hates them, right?
Yeah, right. I haven't even met them, but I hate them because they're going to take the ring.
That's right. And then we get back to the fish, a healthy source of protein needed to get your finger muscles good and strong to throttle every living soul in the area.
I'll take rejected seafood industry ad campaigns for $400, Alex.
Oh, I love that. Don't forget to eat your salmon, folks. It'll help you throttle everybody.
Soul in the area. Don't forget, kids. Makes eyes bright, fingers tight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Rejected seafood campaigns.
Yes, precious.
Wow.
Buy California fish.
That's terrible, man. I love it.
So the narrator tells us this kept going almost as unceasing as the waterfall, just like this constant murmuring chatter.
Yeah, you get the feeling he never stops talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Only interrupted by drooling and gurgling.
Yeah, because that's what slavering is, right? That's
right,
saliva dripping from his mouth. And
right.
He's just, ew, this is gross.
Yeah.
Okay, the text says that he listens with pity too, but I think, frankly, disgust is the overwhelming emotion, and he's overwhelmed with a wish for this all to end. he literally starts thinking about, well, I could just go back to Anborn and have him, shoot this guy. I mean, he kind of fantasizes about how easy it would be, right? Well, just one true shot.
Oh, just one shot, and you'd finally never have to hear that miserable voice again.
Oh, and you'd never have to do the miserable voice again. Oh, man.
He is really tempted here, and one can certainly imagine that if Sam was there, he would be
my
gleefully agreeing to this. Like, let's do it. One shot. Come on.
Want me to go back to Anborn, Master? I can go back to Anborn right now. Yeah.
It's like, no, Sam, he might hit me. But then Frodo reaches a different conclusion, doesn't he? I really like this.
And the way he puts it, the servant has a claim on the master.
Yeah. And also, they would not have survived the Dead Marshes without Gollum.
No, they would not.
Even if you're not being altruistic about it, just transactionally, look, he did us a solid. We survived the Dead Marshes thanks to him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then also, most importantly, Frodo knows that Gandalf wouldn't want Gollum killed. That's
right. I mean, he just told Faramir that, and now, yeah, exactly. That's super important. Yeah. He's finally kind of preaching it to himself. I used that as an excuse before so that Faramir wouldn't shoot him, and the fact
now
is it's true.
I can't go back on that now.
No, he knows.
And so that's going to take us to the last passage of the episode, which is there's a little quick dialogue exchange, and then you're going to pick up after that.
Yep. Smeagol, Master has come to look for you. Master is here. Come, Smeagol. There was no answer, but a soft hiss as of intaken breath. Come, Smeagol, said Frodo. We are in danger. Men will kill you if they find you here. Come quickly if you wish to escape death. Come to Master.
No,
said the voice.
Not nice, Master. Leaves poor Smeagol and goes with new friends. Master can wait. Smeagol hasn't finished.
There's no time, said Frodo. Bring fish with you. Come.
No, must finish fish.
Smeagol, said Frodo desperately. Precious will be angry. I shall take Precious, and I shall say, make him swallow the bones and choke. Never taste fish again. Come, Precious is waiting. There was a sharp hiss. Presently, out of the darkness, Gollum came crawling on all fours, like an erring dog called to heel. He had a half-eaten fish in his mouth, and another in his hand. He came close to Frodo, almost nose to nose, and sniffed at him. His pale eyes were shining. Then he took the fish out of his mouth and stood up.
Nice, Master, he whispered. Nice hobbit come back to poor Smeagol. Good Smeagol comes. Now, let's go. Go quickly, yes. Through the trees while the faces are dark. Yes, come, let's go.
All right. Done with that for now.
Yeah. So Frodo's just had this little inner debate with himself. And after that, he does what might be one of the hardest things he's done so far, which is actually call out for Gollum when he's just been thinking about, should I just let him die?
Right.
And at first, Gollum doesn't respond. He says it softly.
Yeah.
He just kind of keeps talking to himself. Then when he says it louder, that's when Gollum stops.
I wonder at what point does he hear him, right? Did you think he heard him right away? Because the part I skipped, it was Smeagol, he said softly, then fish, then Smeagol a little louder, and then the voice stopped.
I kind of think, we're told that he's just kind of muttering to himself, almost like the waterfall. I kind of think he's so into it, he's just talking to himself, he doesn't even hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely the second Smeagol that Frodo calls out that makes him hear him and stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he didn't hear him the first time. I mean, if you've ever been near a waterfall like that and it's falling, it's really, really loud.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to yell for the person next to you to hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And if the person is muttering to themselves on top of that, it's going to be hard for them to hear.
And chomping on some raw fish. And not expecting anybody, right? This is, the one nice thing about this restaurant is it's very private.
That's right.
You usually get a table for one, and it's the only table in the whole place.
That's right.
So Frodo makes it clear once Gollum is paying attention, your master's here now, and I'm asking you to come.
And he makes some good points as to why.
He does,
men will kill you if they find you here, which, they will. So come with me if you want to live.
Hop inside my mouth if you want to live.
Wow. I've not seen that one in a long time.
Finding Nemo. I love that.
Yeah.
Nigel. What a great name for a pelican.
Yeah. Yep.
Nigel. Those are great birds. Love that.
So, yeah, Gollum hears this, but he's not really in a compliant mood, is he?
No, he's not. He's in a fish-eating mood.
Yeah. And I think it partly could be, I don't know, maybe he's getting back to Smeagol now, because he does start referring to himself as Smeagol. But he was Gollum just a moment ago, and there's still some anger there.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out. He's like, you were not a nice master. You left me.
No.
You went with your new friends.
That's right.
You're sitting at another table now.
Yeah. I will note, though, that he's not saying no. He's just telling Frodo that he's going to have to wait for him to finish eating.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
He's not saying I won't ever come, just like, hang on.
No. I mean, I still recognize the master-servant relationship here, right? You weren't a nice master.
So it's not like I'm not following you anymore. It's, hey, I'm not going to do you any favors right now because I got my fish in front of me and you weren't nice to me, so you can wait now.
Yeah. Talk to the hand. Yeah.
Right. But Frodo says there's no time.
No, and there isn't.
And there isn't. And then finally he breaks out this threat.
Yeah.
He'll use the ring. I'll take the precious and I'll basically curse you to choke on the fish bones and never taste it again.
That is terrible.
It is. It's interesting because it's such a kind of a childishly worded threat.
It really is, isn't it?
But it is the kind of thing he needs to do to get down to Gollum's level.
And I think that's the point. You're right. He's not going to be able to reason with him.
Yeah.
He's got to get to that kind of core, what's going to motivate Gollum, you know? What's my motivation? That was always your problem. You were never serious.
You're never serious about the craft.
But that gets him a response, doesn't it? Right? Gollum crawls to him. And again, with the dog metaphor, this is what, the fifth time we've seen a dog metaphor used.
Yeah. And he's got two fish. One of them is in his mouth. Another is in his hands. So, this is like a buffet.
Yeah. It's a fish buffet.
He gets really close to Frodo and he sniffs him. What do you think he's doing there? What do you think he's sniffing about?
I wonder what he's sniffing for.
I wonder if he's trying to decide if he, does Frodo smell like Gondorians now because he's been hanging out with these guys?
Does he smell like elves? Does he smell like orcs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he smell like a fish so I can eat him too? I mean, what is he smelling for?
I think he's smelling to see if he smells like men because, Gollum doesn't like anything good, right? Like,
no.
Think of the elves, think of Lembas, right? Like just the taste and the smell of Lembas was disgusting to him.
Right.
So maybe the presence of these ennobled men, maybe that's an offensive smell to him at this point. He's trying to I don't know if I can stand the man stink on you. So let me just,
man stink.
Let me just check you out.
The thing is, though, if that's the case, Frodo would smell like man. He's been, sleeping in a bed with some of the men's blankets, and he's been with men now for, a good close to 24 hours. So
maybe he's just trying to make sure he hasn't been with elves or something.
Yeah, maybe. Because then he surprisingly not only agrees, but seems at least to be mostly back to his old self, right?
Yeah.
Come back to poor Smeagol. Good Smeagol comes. Nice master. I'm not sure that it's genuine. What do you think?
I don't know that it's really genuine. I do think that this is Smeagol coming out and kind of really emerging a little bit more. Like before, it was a lot of back and forth between Smeagol and Gollum. I do think this is more Smeagol emerging as the dominant personality. And so I don't know if the kindness is really all that genuine, but he's definitely slightly less dangerous than he might have been a minute ago.
Yeah, he's maybe not quite entirely murderous.
Right. Yeah. And he suggests let's leave now before the sun comes up. Got to stay away from the faces.
Yeah, got to stay away from the faces. You know who else does their best work while the faces are dark? Bartleman. I know, it's quite a surprise. I thought so too. But he's brought us a couple of good ones tonight. Shawn, why don't you start?
All right. Well, John A. wrote in with a really good speculative question. Sam's cooking fire going rogue and smoking seems odd, considering he is a level 10 Boy Scout, and Gollum already warned him it might attract danger. For this latter reason alone, John says, I imagine Sam would be extra careful just to prove Gollum wrong. My theory is that it was a subtle nudge from the hand of Ilúvatar to make sure Faramir finds Frodo. And if that's the case, who is the meeting more important for, Frodo or Faramir? Sure, Frodo finds rest and gets a good meal, but he'd still be on his way to Cirith Ungol without the meeting. Without the meeting, though, what happens to Faramir? For character development, he gets his test against the ring, and passes with flying colors, of course, and all his future actions are now grounded in the knowledge of Frodo's mission. So, speculation time here, Alan. What happens to Faramir without meeting Frodo?
Oh, man, I love speculative questions like this. This is a lot of fun to think about.
Yeah.
First, I have to admit, John caught something that we really didn't catch, and that's just how unlikely it was that Sam would make a mistake with a cooking fire.
Yeah, that was a good point.
I mean, yeah, he really is experienced in this sort of thing. He's also well aware they're in enemy territory, so the consequence of failure is much, much higher than just about anywhere else on their journey so far.
Yeah.
And then, like he says in the question, Gollum's made a big deal of it, so you'd think that he would do it right just to show up Gollum as being, paranoid or unnecessarily, afraid of what Sam was doing.
I mean, that all seems reasonable, but there is something in the text that actually speaks against all three of those assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Right after Gollum tells Sam that the fire is dangerous, that it burns and kills, and that it'll bring enemies, Sam's pretty dismissive of his whole perspective. First of all, he tries to explain that he knows how to make it not to attract enemies. He says, don't put wet stuff on it and make a smother.
Right.
But then he says this, if it does, it does. I'm going to risk it anyhow. I'm going to stew these conies.
Wow.
So, frankly, to me, it sounds like he knows there's some risk. He just doesn't care if it brings enemies. He's just done with eating lembas and trail mix, and we saw that he was hungry. Just the smell of the herbs made him hungry for a proper meal. Actual meat. Mm-hmm. And I think he's just like, regardless of the risk, he just doesn't care. He's just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, at this point, he's just saying, it doesn't matter what the risk is. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
We talked before about how Sam is the emotional heart of the story. I think this might be an example of how sometimes, at least, Sam might let his emotions get the better part of his judgment in starting that fire. And I also can't help but wonder, and this may be a stretch, but I'm going to go there anyway, how much of his attitude is simply just to be contrary to Gollum?
I think that could be quite a driving factor for him. Yeah, absolutely.
I can't help but think that if Gollum came back and was excited to see the fire,
oh, flames, fire, I love fire. I'm a little pyromaniac.
Thrilled to have some cooked food, Sam might decide, it's not such a good idea. After all, we're gonna eat something cold.
Right.
I can see him being just contrary for the sake of contrary.
Absolutely.
That's not John's question. So
that's true. That's true.
Who is the meeting more important for, Frodo or Faramir? Let's go ahead and start with that one.
Well, obviously it's important for Frodo. I mean,
of course,
John pointed out, yes, there's a meal and a good night's rest, but I mean, it's more than that. I mean, first of all, this is the premier Airbnb in Ithilien.
You can't book this place. It's booked like years out. Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, it's more than that even. I mean, with this last 24 hours, Frodo's finally gotten the chance to confide in somebody that he can trust.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he can trust in Sam, but it's a little different.
Sam already knows so much,
Exactly. Confiding in somebody who's in a position to, I don't know, maybe help him differently than Sam can.
I agree. Yeah. Someone who brings something different, who can bring different counsel, who can probably bring counsel, because I think, for the most part, Sam is very deferential to Frodo. I know he's a great support to Frodo. He's definitely going to help validate Frodo, but Frodo maybe needs an outside party to give him some advice here. And he is going to get that.
He sort of plays the Gandalf role now that Gandalf is gone, in that sense, giving him some counsel and things.
And that makes sense. He's the wizard's pupil.
Right.
But Frodo's also learned more about Gondor and Minas Tirith. He's gotten some encouragement in his goal, if not his specific direction, by Faramir.
Well, yeah, we'll see that for sure.
And, I mean, another thing that I thought of was that, there's every chance that he would have been killed or captured by the Southern Army if he and Sam hadn't met Faramir and the Rangers first.
That's a very good point.
Imagine that they're out there and they're eating their rabbit stew and suddenly a whole bunch of Haradrim come marching by.
An entire army surrounds them.
Yeah.
They're dead. They're toast. Yeah.
That's game over.
Very, very bad news. Yeah.
So the fact that Faramir and the Rangers found them gets them out of the way.
Mm-hmm. For Faramir, of course, this was very important, right? I mean, he got to hear more about Boromir. And look, he didn't get to learn how his final hour was spent. Frodo doesn't know all that, but he does get to put together some more pieces of the puzzle regarding Lothlorien, regarding Gandalf or Mithrandir. So I think it was super important for Faramir. And now, of course, Faramir knows the answer to the riddle about Isildur's Bane. He knows about the quest.
Yeah.
And now he can do something to help that quest, to help Frodo achieve that goal. And that's a big thing for Faramir, I think.
I mean, there's definitely a big bit of closure about his brother for sure, but you're right.
Huge. Yeah.
the stuff that he now knows about the ring and just sort of what's going on, the larger sequence of events, he's got an opportunity now to play the part that Boromir couldn't.
That's right. That's a very good point.
He can kind of stand in and he can do things now that Boromir might have done if he had made different choices. And I think this is very important for Faramir. And I think it's also very important for someone else too.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this was an important meeting for Gandalf.
Yeah.
Because later in Book 5, Chapter 4, The Siege of Gondor, Faramir says to Denethor, Gandalf, and Pippin, this is not the first halfling that I have seen walking out of Northern Legends into the Southlands. That knowledge that Frodo and Sam were alive at that point, because Gandalf goes nuts. He's just like, okay, when did you see them? What day was this? Right. Tell me more,
Yeah.
That totally helped shape Gandalf's counsels and his course of action going forward.
Yeah.
The meeting of Faramir and Frodo has import far beyond just the two of them.
It critically influences the quest.
Absolutely.
It has import to the entire world.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. So then what would have happened to Faramir had he not met Frodo? Or what, if that meeting hadn't happened, what would have happened?
I guess I'll go back and say that I think that it was much more important for everyone else except Frodo. Frodo got some good chicken soup for the soul out of this meeting, but such huge things happened for Faramir and Gandalf and everyone else that I guess if we're looking at that question, I think it was more important for Faramir. And that's pretty amazing to think about that.
That really is.
But yeah, what would have happened to Faramir if he had not met Frodo? I guess he just he goes out there, he fights the Southrons. He goes and rests at Hen Anun with his guys. It's a wonder. I guess he does still end up going back to Minas Tirith before the siege, and so probably a lot of stuff that happens there still happens, but he doesn't know anything about halflings. He doesn't have the reaction to Pippin that he has when he sees him. I don't know. I think the lack of knowledge that Gandalf would have, I think that would just change a lot of the decisions that are made and a lot of what happens in the story going forward.
Agreed.
I think Faramir still ends up back in Minas Tirith. I think he still ends up, probably getting wounded, but I think maybe there's less hope for all involved.
I think a lot of his fate stays the same. There's just a delay in the knowledge that he gains. We talk about the closure regarding Boromir. He will get that when he gets back to Minas Tirith if he doesn't get it from Frodo.
True. Yeah.
Because Pippin, will come and have told the tale to Denethor, and so, he'll get to hear about that.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty long time
to
go. And, I think this fact that he got to find out a little bit more about Boromir's, involvement in the quest, I think really did give him a piece of a sort that, even though of course he was deeply disappointed and, talked about, so sad that, the trial was too sore for him and that kind of thing. But I think that really definitely impacted Faramir in a way that would, I don't know, maybe shape some of his actions at least. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if any actual events would change.
I don't know. I wonder if
in Faramir's life, we know it changes Gandalf and Denethor significantly.
Yeah, again, the knowledge that they have of how Frodo's doing in his quest, that affects all sorts of events leading up to the march to the Black Gate at the end.
Absolutely,
but
huge.
Yeah, for Faramir, maybe the rest of his life kind of goes the way it goes anyway.
Yeah, he still gets back to Minas Tirith. He still gets injured. His dad still drags him onto a pyre and tries to light him on fire.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
That's a great question, though. I love it.
It is. I love speculative stuff like that. That's a lot of fun.
So thank you very much for that one, John. And Alan, what do you think? We have time for one more?
I think we do. Mark V. from Long Island, New York asks us, why do swords frequently break at the hilt? For example, Boromir broke his sword at the hilt during the parting of the Fellowship, and Anduril broke a foot below the hilt after cutting the ring from Sauron's hand. I've never broken an épée at the hilt fencing for many years. Do most heroes use the same shoddy swordmaker in Middle-earth? Is this some kind of symbolic meaning indicating a great, almost superhuman effort that failed? Like I always say, when you're ordering from Amazon, you got to make sure it's, actually shipped and sold by them and not some knockoff company.
Right. Yeah, you got to watch that
product. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not sure that we'd ever given any real thought to this before, to be honest.
I think we
just
have.
sound like, I guess swords break. But in fairness, neither of us has any experience in fencing or metallurgy.
No.
Okay. I took a couple of classes on fencing like 20 years ago, but like, it was like one summer, basically. I was like, oh, this is cool, and never did it again.
The only fencing I know how to do is to build a fence between my yard and somebody else's. I can dig a post hole. That's the only fencing I know.
Well, I can't do that.
Totally different kind of fencing, though.
Very different kind of fencing. And you know how often when you Google fencing, you find the other kind of fencing?
Yeah.
Because I've actually been
very good point.
Thinking about getting my son into fencing.
Have you? Okay.
Sword fighting. Yeah, because he's interested in it.
I was about to say, you're going to get him into building fences, huh?
Yeah, every time I Google fencing, it's just like, Austin fencing. No, I don't want a fence.
We can do vinyl fencing, redwood fencing. Yeah.
Like, no, wrong kind of fence. Anyway.
Sorry.
It's not in our wheelhouse, so it didn't really come to mind for us. And
no,
to be honest, we weren't really sure exactly how to go about finding the answer to this. So we ended up calling in a little help from one of our research assistants, Marilyn R. Pakila, to help point us in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's a combination of Bronze Age sword-making history, which ended up reflected in Homer, and of course, Homer influenced literature for centuries after, and then getting used in literature over and over to kind of reinforce it as a thing.
Of course. Well, the first thing we did, though, after that was take a look at a collection of unmitigated pedantry, but of course we would. I mean, it's kind of our go-to thing for anything historical. We learned there that as a whole, and not specifically Tolkien, what we often read in fantasy literature and see in movies is, well, not surprisingly, wrong. Iron swords are forged, not cast. Now, recall in the films that the swords of Saruman's Uruk-hai, we see molten iron being poured into molds, and that's a very, very bad idea. It's certainly not how iron swords were created.
Right. It makes them very brittle, doesn't it?
Very brittle, yeah.
Yeah. But we think that most stories of swords breaking at the hilts were probably modeled after Homer's Iliad, which took place in the Bronze Age, and therefore was about bronze swords, which were cast, actually, unlike forged iron swords. And so they were more brittle than forged iron swords are. In Homer's work, the warrior's weapons are always said to be of bronze, at least when a metal is specified.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because although they had some iron for tools, they didn't really have the tempering techniques at the time to make reliable swords from iron.
No. And then in a book called Homer and His Age by Andrew Lang, there's a chapter on bronze and iron. And there Lang says, in the Iliad, we hear of swords breaking at the hilt in dealing a stroke at shield or helmet, a thing most incident to bronze swords, especially of the early type with a thin bronze tang inserted into a hilt of wood, ivory, or amber, or with a slight shell of the bronze hilt riveted with 3 nails on the bronze blade. And then he quotes Homer, Lycon struck Pentelos on the socket of his helmet crest, and his sword brake at the hilt. Well, the fact is, Bronze Age swords found in burial mounds, even in recent history, have often been found broken at the hilt.
And before I go on, I just want to go ahead and point out that Andrew Lang, who wrote that book, that is the Andrew Lang that the Andrew Lang lecture series was named after.
That's right.
And that's the lecture series that Tolkien delivered on fairy stories at.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a tie back to Tolkien there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So swords have been found in burial mounds. And in one of the archaeological findings of one of these swords that was found, and this was about a 3,000-year-old sword in a late Bronze Age grave, the finding reads, while using the sword as a slashing weapon and hitting the target, the energy of the blow concentrated in the sword's weakest point, the haft area, and caused the blade to break in this region. In short, we are dealing with a perfect-looking but low-quality sword, which was used as a weapon until it finally broke. It might also have led to the death of its owner. Whoops.
Wow. I've got this very nice sword. I'm going to fight you with this sword.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm dead now.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We have a lot of other archaeological finds that confirm Homer's description of bronze swords shattering below the hilts, because that's just what these brittle weapons would do. They were cast, not forged, and so they were brittle and they would break.
Right.
But Homer's effect on subsequent literature, everything from post-Roman all the way into medieval literature, meant that this image, this idea of a hero's sword breaking at the hilt, that's something that stuck around long after bronze swords were replaced by iron forged swords with a different metallurgy, different production techniques, and thus different results from use, especially not breaking at the hilts.
Right. And yet, despite different results in the real world, as we discovered, in literature, everything from Viking songs to Irish epics, From Icelandic sagas to Thomas Mallory's Morte d'Arthur, they kept repeating this trope of swords breaking at the hilt. And partly because it's how Homer represented it, and that's just what you do, right? But partly also because that's what they kept finding in graves and such. It's a bit of Eld Ente Jawerk of previous generations creeping into their influences.
Good way of bringing that phrase in.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that does wrap it up for another episode of the Prancing Pony Podcast, but be sure to join us again next week when Faramir declares his doom.
And like any good dad, he tells Frodo that his new friend is a bad influence. And folks, we want to take a moment to thank the team that helps make this show better. Our research assistants, including Marilyn R. Pakila, along with our barlowman, Becca Davis, producer Jordan Rennells, social media manager, Casey Hilsey, event and Patreon community coordinator, Katie McKenna, and website guru, Phil Dean.
And speaking of the website, be sure to visit us there at theprancingponypodcast.com. We've got show notes, hilarious outtakes, Prancing Pony ponderings, and our online storefront where you can get all sorts of PPP merch.
And definitely check out our library page. You know we love the books here at the Prancing Pony Podcast, and we've provided links for you to get nearly every book we mention on the show. And we do get a few pennies from the purchases you make there, so thank you.
Indeed. And now we want to thank some more really important people. Our patrons at the Círdan's contribution tier. I'm going to start with DeMay in Alaska, James in Virginia, Tamsin in Minnesota, Chad in Texas, Lance in New Jersey, Paul in Colorado, Jerry in Texas, Bruce in California, Mario in Utah, Seth in Texas, B in California, Joseph in Texas, Kathy from North Carolina, and Lori from Washington.
And then we have Carlos in California, Brian from the UK, Ned from Connecticut, Jerry from Washington, Joe in Washington, Erwin from the Netherlands, Hal from Washington, D.C., Lise in Switzerland, Dylan in Australia, Ben in Minnesota, Anthony in Texas, Dorwin in Michigan, Karen in the UK, James in Florida, and Jim in Maryland. Thank you all so very much for your support.
Indeed. Thank you.
And folks, please be sure you don't miss any episodes of the Prancing Pony Podcast. Subscribe to the show through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast app is.
And one last thing as always, don't forget to send your thoughts, comments, and, well, most of all, what you mutter to yourself when you're fishing at 5 in the morning to barlowman@theprancingponypodcast.com. And if you want a chance to have your actual voice heard, you can send us audio of you asking your question, but not muttering to yourself while eating fish, by visiting podinbox.com/prancingponypod and record your question for us.
Please don't mutter to yourself eating fish. It just ruins the whole audio. We can't use it.
Toss that file. Gone. Don't do it.
But if you do it, not that, but if you do send in the audio, please still send in the question to Barlowman. Helps with tracking and all of that. Now, Barlowman's a lot more reliable lately, but we do get a lot of mail, so we'll get to you as soon as we can, and your question or comment may be featured on a future episode.
As always, this has been far too short a time to spend among such excellent and admirable listeners. But until next time,
farewell, friends.